I remember many times seeing these monkeys in the experimental apparatus and looking so helpless and confused and frightened. It got me thinking about it all the time, like who are these beings? And of course, what do we owe them? I wanted to get into the research world, and what I found was the expectation was that we'd be working with, or I'd be working with, animal subjects. It was an environment as a student where the person who questioned the value or usefulness of this work would likely not stay around very long. So I had to find a way to get over my reluctance to doing what turns out to be fairly invasive work with these animals. The way I kind of got myself over was to convince myself that this work was in fact required to make progress in the neurosciences and the understanding of psychological disorders and other biomedical conditions. When I started spending day after day after day with monkeys and got to see who they were and recognize them, I mean, there was always in the back of my mind an uncertainty about what I was doing, and I just had to get over it. At least that's how I thought about it. I just had to get over the pain. I was hired to set up a primate laboratory. That was my job, to encourage people to use primates in their research. But there came a time when I couldn't chase the questions away anymore. What's the point of doing this stuff? It's hard on the monkeys, it's hard on me, it's hard on the people who work with me, and I began to question whether the work was as useful as I thought it had been. I knew I couldn't do any more research. As we continue to understand who these animals are, what their lives are like, what their interests are, their preferences, the way in which they express their autonomy, has become more and more obvious. All this kind of information about who these animals are and how they are potentially harmed by our interactions with them. There's got to be another way to do this work.